Appreciate it, Brother Crane. What would I do without my pal there? All right, I need you to turn to page 42 in your manual. If you've forgotten it, repent and look on your neighbors for now. Today is called the Shephalah field trip. Brother Skinner and others call it the Shephalah. I think when they light it down, it has a compensatory vowel length name, but don't worry about the morphology there. Anyway, I call it the Shephalah. What do you call it, Dr. Ludlow?
Either one, I think it works.
Okay. Anyway, what is the Shephalah, the Shephalah? The lowlands. Okay, now this is the in-between area between the coastal plain and the Judean hills and highlands, about whom we'll talk a lot today. Probably leftover Mycenaeans who actually moved here in the late Bronze Age, or what we call in the Greek world, the Dark Ages, Greek Dark Ages. And in the northern part of the coastal plain by Canaanites. Those Canaanites went all the way up to what we now call Lebanon. And in that area they were never displaced and became the ancient Phoenicians. So the coastal plain was rarely controlled by the Israelites, but they were moving down into that in-between area called the Shephalah. Now the Shephalah is significant because it's an area where you can both do herding and sheep herding as the Israelites did in the uplands, the highlands, but you can also start doing agriculture. So this is the area where we see the nomadic Israelites begin to become a sedentary people. Problem is, when you start accepting agricultural practices from people who've been doing it for a long time, you tend to borrow from them. So they borrowed farming techniques, etc. from the Canaanites. Problem was, they frequently would also borrow religious practices from the Canaanites. If you're concerned about enough rain, you're not sure Yahweh can pull that off because he's a desert god, you start to worship Baal, okay, the lord of the skies, the Canaanites. If you're worried about your grain growing and your sheep having babies and your women having babies, you start to worship Baal's wife, the lovely Asherah, a fertility deity. So it's a difficult period, as we know, that we've read about in Judges and are about to read about in Samuel. There are also a couple sites which come from a later period. Well, they come from all this period, but we'll read about them as we get into Kings. So it's really important that we understand the geography. So your first term is, of course, Shephalah or Shephalah, okay, this area of rolling hills. Now we're going to proceed from north to south. And it's going to pretty much line up the way we're reading about it. We're going to see, first of all, where Samson was as he fought the Philistines. Then we're going to go to where David was when he fought Goliath, and we'll move down from there. But I need you to learn a number of terms, and I'm going to drill them all day long until you get them. Now, I've been working on an acronym, Jared. It is all students enjoy getting letters. I know that this doesn't quite work for you who get email these days, but in the old days we got letters. All students enjoy getting letters. A-S-E-G-L. Why? The Shephalah was broken by 5 valleys. So the hills are a region, this region of low hills is running north to south, but it is transected horizontally east to west by valleys that were carved out by wadi, or seasonal rivers, seasonal streams. And so the wadi, or seasonal stream, gave its name to the valleys. The northernmost valley is called the Ayalon. Okay, that's all. All students enjoy getting letters. Ayalon. Then we have the Elah Valley. All students, oh, I've done it wrong.
Sorek.
Sorek, thank you. I knew it was right. I worked on it all morning on my run. So Sorek is the next one. Then we have the Elah Valley. All students enjoy Elah. Getting, Guvrim. All students enjoy getting. And then finally in the south, Lachish. All students enjoy getting letters, Lachish. Now before I say anything more about it, we're just going to drill that. All, which valley? Ayalon. Students, which valley? Sorek. Enjoy, which valley? Elah. Getting, which valley? Guvrim. Okay. Letters, Lachish. All students enjoy getting letters. Ayalon, Sorek, Elah, Guvrim, Lachish. Does that work? Did I get it wrong?
Guvrim.
Guvrim. I was making it plural and it's a different word altogether. Okay, I was making it many goofs. Okay, but anyway. All right, so that's the first thing we need to do is get the valleys, and we have them. Ayalon, Sorik, Ela, Guvrin, and Lakish. It's kind of fun that Dr. Skinner's not here because now the kids can play. Okay, when Dad's here, we've got to kind of behave. All right. Now, this is from Dr. Skinner. He taught us this on Thursday, and it's really useful. I need everyone to hold her hand or his hand out like this. Left hand. It's got to be the left hand. It's got to be the left hand. And your, okay, let's make sure we get our anatomy right. The first knuckle is where your finger, and the doctor don't correct me if I'm getting the anatomy wrong. But anyway, the first knuckle for our purposes is where your finger joins your hand proper. Okay? So your first knuckle should be the highest point there. And then the middle knuckle, where your finger bends, is the next point I want you to think about. And then your fingernails are the lowest point. Okay? What we have with this illustration is the Judean highlands with your first knuckle where your finger joins your hand, and then you have a midpoint on the Shephalah reaching down to the sea where your finger bends, what we're calling our second knuckle, and then your fingernail is the coastal plain. So you've got to hold it like this. Your first knuckle's higher than your middle knuckle and your fingertips are down. Each of these fingers is a line of hills running down to the sea. Okay? Now, where your thumb joins your hand, okay, and between your thumb and your first finger is the Ayalon River Valley. Choose the right, let wisdom mark the way before. In its light, choose the right, and go. Who's on the Lord's side, who? Now is the time to show. We ask it fearlessly. Who's on the Lord's side, who? All right.
Ain't no mountain low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, baby.
Yeah, of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel.
Woo! Thank you. All right, this is where we get to do our little reenactment.
What do you think? Who's gonna win? Malia, who's gonna win?
Okay, Brennan Ludlow.
Nope, that was
Malia, come here. Come back a little bit, sweetie. Back up a little bit.
the bigger the you
Nice! Good job, Riz. Nice, Malia.
He's like,
Where are we?
We're Mare Shah, the caves of Beit Guvrin.
Okay.
These the things that they put the dead bodies in.
Oh, thanks. I feel better about going down there now.
Just don't tell her about how many bodies you see there.
Oh, these are the big ones. Wow. Look at this.
Oh, this does feel good. So much better than the other ones. That was fun.
Yeah, guys, seriously, take your time. I'm not dying your feet up here.
No one's trying to do it. No, but
Everyone is seriously like, stop.
everyone else. It's all across.
Oh, this is cool. This is awesome.
It goes outside.
We have to walk back up.
So you can make it outside.